Hi, everyone. My name is Shimon, and I was a paragliding instructor for over 20 years. In this series, I'm going to teach you the art of thermaling. I'll share with you the secrets, tips, and techniques that make the difference when flying thermals. It doesn't matter if you fly a paraglider, a hang glider, or a sailplane. The theory is the same. Thermaling is an art, but also a science. To master it, you need to understand the theory, the weather, and the terrain. I will guide you step by step, showing you how to thermal in a way that is efficient, safe, and enjoyable. Of course, nothing replaces real practice in air, but these lessons will give you the knowledge and confidence to fly with skill. We will explore weather phenomena, terrain conditions, and different types of thermal sites, what we often call mountain flying. With each video, your knowledge and confidence will grow, preparing you for real flying situations. And remember, safety is everything. Throughout my career, I lived by one rule: abandon any other consideration other than the safety of flight.
Around those years, I think it was a time really close to the end of summer, October, something like that. There are still westerly fronts. I head up on a day that's covered in cumulus clouds. Not nimbostratus, these aren't rain clouds, they're really developed late summer clouds with a crazy temperature gradient. Yeah, and tons of cumulus clouds and a lot of activity in the air. And I show up with a wing called the Allegra by APCO. It's a wing I've got some sort of history with. 2.5, 3. They pass through my hands. A pretty old 1-2 wing, way too much of an I-1-2, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And I show up that day in Mount Tavor, and it's midweek, and I've got 4 other buddies with me who decide to stay on the ground. It's 2 in the afternoon, and you have to understand that even though there's such intense cloud activity outside, yeah, it's still hot. Really hot, yeah. And the temperature that day, the temperatures were really low, but there was strong enough solar radiation hitting the ground, and I start climbing. The conditions were about 30 to 35 kilometers per hour outside because I went out, it was outside, then I climbed to 1,000 meters, turn my back to the wind, and fly toward kibbutz Shadot Devora. From Tabor to Shadmut Devora, I can't find anything. From 1,000 meters, I'm gliding at a crazy speed of about 70 kilometers per hour. Ground speed, which is 70 plus about 35 from my wing plus 35 from the wind, and I'm gliding at a crazy speed. And then I pick my brakes, pay attention. Then I pick a field downwind. Like crazy, kind of like a long, narrow field. Yeah, it's in that direction, an elongated field, a mixed field, and that's east. I was heading that way, a brown and black field, and when I got closer, later on, I realized just how full of clods it was, freshly plowed. It was really dangerous. You'll see in a moment why I'm stressing this. And this stretch here is where I'm planning my final approach. Not just eighths here, you don't even have time for seconds, you have nothing. What's on my mind right now is when I turn to face the wind. When will I start the turn and do it again? Start thinking a step or 2 ahead. When will I start the turn with the wind drift? I'll finish the turn. How far will I go? And I plan it so that I start the turn at the beginning of the field. The field ends here. I start the turn here. By the time I manage to turn, meanwhile, I covered the whole length of the field. I got maybe to the last third I had left. And now I'm facing the wind. At this point, I'm 50 meters above the ground, crazy wind, and I'm just standing here. Not doing anything, I'm holding 2 brakes and letting go so I don't get dragged back. And I'm standing, guys, just standing, checking stats, and then I release the bubble. Right as I finish the turn, I release the thermal bubble that was sitting there and needed to be released. And that's a trigger. We'll talk about catalyst oak. And she lets go on a day like this with crazy violence. I think I was her trigger. She was sitting there. And when I was on my way, she waited for me and then she snapped. The moment I break free and I'm here, I hear the beeping from when we passed and we headed over there. Total madness. I've never heard anything like that, and I know what's waiting for me after she passes me. I know. Guys, I was already at 15 meters, just about to land really close to the ground. And then in 3 seconds, she launches me up to like 80 meters in the air. As she passes, I'm still climbing, could be the way she passes. I take a full frontal hit. The whole wing collapses like crazy. It's not like you hit a thermal and she shot ahead. It's really simple. That monstrous thing passed me. What? Everything collapsed and I'm dropping into a vertical dive. Losing a wing by itself drops me at 10 meters per second. 10 meters per second. The sink rate from something like that is insane. That's another 20 meters per second, another 10. I'm going 20 meters per second toward the ground, and I'm telling you, honestly guys, right there, I had to pull out everything I had. All the years of my experience and all my skills and all my readiness. I knew it was going to be violent because I knew what's coming. So yeah, I was expecting it. I knew it was going to happen to me. I knew I was going to have a collapse and I knew everything. And even though I knew it all and was ready, I still had to pull together everything I had so that the moment I hit the ground, the canopy would have time to open. You need to understand, in a full front collapse, the recovery of a wing from a full collapse will always come with a drop. I don't know what canopies over canopies means, but it's like a paratrooper's parachute with no fill at all. It's coming down under my control, and it's like a reserve chute is open. Yeah, and it's a stall. That's called a deep, full stall. Okay, it's a canopy collapse, and I'm taking the hit on my canopy because it opened up on me. The wing, I didn't have enough altitude when the cells filled up to get back to flying and all that, and I'm in a parachute stall. I don't know at what speed, and then I'm really planning the start of my flare because the speed is super, super high. Maybe at about 4 or 5 meters I start, and 4 or 5 meters are gone in about 3 seconds, and I'm done with it right here. I hit the ground and land with nothing, and my leg gets caught between 2 huge clumps of dirt. So you get what the point is here, because I grab the wing and kill it right away, because if it drags me, my leg will break. This field, the clumps of dirt, and this is a very extreme example of what's waiting for you. I see you're pushing it even further. This is a really, really extreme case. Victor went through this in his last injury. That's exactly what happened to him. There was a collapse, yeah. And exactly what happened to him, exactly one-to-one what happened to him. Flying on a very, very high ratio competition wing, and in these cases, the DHV, yeah, saves you. He was flying a competitive wing with absolutely no certification, none. No consideration for any safety factor exists there. And I was flying with a wing that's super safe, like totally beginner friendly. And I made it out of that. I also needed everything. And he's an excellent pilot, a top-notch pilot. Victor competes in tournaments and he's the guy. And the fact that he had a wing that was really, really not high performance, he didn't get out of that spot, and that's exactly the point here, folks. Pay attention, the point here is so you understand what's waiting for you. After something even more intense, what's waiting for you when you take off and hit something even stronger. No need to freak out over a few intense minutes. You might suddenly run into right in the middle of summer, what we call, or during the transitional seasons when the conditions are absolutely fantastic. The sky's full of cumulus clouds and a perfect temperature gradient. You'll get cloud suck of +10, +1. You don't need to freak out about it. It's just a momentary 10. I filmed in the Alps. I had a thermal there. We had a thermal that was so wide, maybe half a kilometer across of +10. I'm at +10, +11. I was climbing there for a good few minutes, maybe 7 or 8 minutes, just circling non-stop in +10. You don't feel it, and you really don't feel anything because you're in it all the time. The energy, the inertia of the lift, your body has already gotten used to it. And you're going up, you can really see it. I just grabbed the carabiner and feel the acceleration.
I feel it. Da.
And over there, the technique is like 1.5 kilometers, or I don't know. Every threshold, raise some peak of the mountain, something like that. So here in our country, that just doesn't exist. Aside from the Kinneret effect, the whole Kinneret itself is more of a big hit, which goes up by +0.5, in the best case +4 if conditions hit, and that's the only instance. I'd expect that in the middle of summer, you'll get more hits like these coming your way. Just be ready like I was ready about what's about to happen when I hear the problem screaming. And because it's so close to the ground, the violence is way more intense. The violence is way sharper because the thermal starts out narrow. And when it happened, it was like, you pull a slingshot like some kind of taffy, just pulling. The thermal stood there and waited. She should have gone up a long time ago, because it was heating up and heating up and heating up, and it was already hot. I'm saying it just needed something. Push it to rise, some catalyst, some trigger, and then it jumps down. And it's tight and all that. So close to the ground, right near the rocks, when the sun is blazing in July, August, June, July, August, when it's hot with bare rocks, try to keep your distance. Speaking of which,